What's good, y'all? I'm Jerry. About to check out 10 wrestling matches ruined by the fans. This video is by Parts for Unknown. I know the fans can be kind of disruptive during like high-profile matches and big matches close to like big spots and stuff. They can kind of mess up the ending to a match and kind of change the whole trajectory of how the match was supposed to go originally. And we're about to hop into the video and see what's on Parts for Unknown list. We're on the road to 2K subscribers, so let's go.
Where would the wrestling business be without you fans? Probably in the state it was
Crazy.
in 2020
I hated that time.
Filmed in the WWE Performance Center to deafening silence,
But
while we all
during the first couple months, it made sense.
While we watched it, what a horrible existence that would be. But at the very least,
the storylines was able to play out a little bit more. But it was time for matches. You needed the fans in attendance.
There are matches that do not in fact benefit from a hot crowd, but rather are crippled by an apathetic gathering of fans, more interested in entertaining themselves than watching the match they paid to see. Not gonna lie, not all of the matches on this list are at the fault of the fans. I don't know who's gonna pay to see the first match on this list for the 11 billionth time, but some of the others, yeah, you ruined it. So good job. I'm Tempest, hailing from Parts for Unknown, and these are 10 wrestling matches ruined by the fans. And before we get on with our list, make sure of course that you like this video, subscribe, and enable notifications to always on so you never miss a fun list just like it. And make sure you check out the plethora of year-end content right here on Parts for Unknown, because I know none of you are the wrestling fans that ruined any of these matches. You're all just good boys and girls who subscribe to Parts for Unknown. Number 10. John Cena vs. Randy Orton, Royal Rumble 2014. The 2014 Royal Rumble match itself was infamous for the crowd's revolt when it became clear that their favorite, Daniel Bryan, wasn't even going to be in the match, let alone win it. Still, you can make a pretty strong case that it wasn't the audience who ruined that match, but rather the failure of WWE to realize that its fan base would only accept one outcome. Maybe WWE hadn't got it into their heads at that point that that was what the fans wanted.
I don't think it never been nobody that over since Daniel Bryan.
It into a megaphone during the previous match.
As far as WWE next to Becky Lynch. But Becky, they kind of pushed her, but when Daniel Bryan was so over with the crowd, it was just the crowd wanted just Daniel. They didn't want nobody else.
Nothing to you people. Before the bell even rang,
the crowd forced Daniel Bryan to be inserted into the main event.
Seconds in, the people were chanting boring. No one was giving this match a chance with chants of Randy Savage, Y2J, we want divas. You know how bad you gotta not want to see
John Cena and Randy Orton match?
We want divas in 2014? Daniel Bryan at the very least got into the main event of WrestleMania in the end, but Christ, can you not go back and watch this match for any reason beyond seeing the fans tear it to shreds? Number 9. Batista vs. Alberto Del Rio, Elimination Chamber 2014. Smithers, are they booing me? No, sir, they're chanting Boo-tista. Boo-tista. Except this crowd actually was chanting Boo-tista. Just a month after the debacle that was the 2014 Royal Rumble, Batista was still being presented as a babyface on the road to WrestleMania sex letters, going one-on-one with notable prick Alberto Del Rio. This was the period of time in which WWE fans had decided they were only going to have Daniel Bryan or nothing at all, and this fell into the nothing at all category. It doesn't help that this match was pretty trash, with Batista not looking like he'd been in the ring much for the prior 4 years, but the fans were also not willing to give it much of a chance. Del Rio wheeled out every dastardly trick in the book to try and get the fans to boo him, including the age-old classic of hobbling to the ring and then pretending he was unable to compete before battering Big Dave with his crutch before the bell. Whatever Del Rio did, they cheered, even launching into a C chant rather than a yes chant at the start of the match. This was followed by, inevitably, more chants for Daniel Bryan, and CM Punk, and RVD, and Chris Jericho, and Brock Lesnar, really anyone who wasn't Dave Batista.
That's crazy.
8. The Bar vs. AOP, Survivor Series 2018. It isn't always
this when they had that beach ball. I remember this.
Sometimes it can be just one.
The crowd was playing with the beach ball,
determined to draw attention to themselves. Every so often,
which made Cesaro go into the crowd and get the beach ball.
Security or confiscating somebody's sign,
turn in half.
Fights broken out, or as implausible as it might sound, maybe a disgruntled ex-employee has decided to hijack one of your biggest shows of the year. Enzo Amore, a charismatic but controversial figure in pro wrestling, had been released by WWE earlier in 2018 after some serious sexual assault allegations were made against him, and he reportedly failed to inform the company that he was being investigated. The police later dropped the investigation, and Enzo moved away from wrestling to focus on his music career, or so we thought. 3 matches into Survivor Series, as the Bar and AOP started a tag team match, Enzo removed the disguise in the first few rows of the crowd and started causing a scene. The fans were visibly distracted for a few minutes as he was ejected from the building and banned from the Staples Center. A "We Want Enzo" chant even broke out as fans on the hard cam could be seen looking en masse towards the the exit rather than
somewhat
at the ring.
did him
Luckily,
wrong.
things calmed down and everyone refocused their attention on the match itself, just in time to see AOP's
Yeah, he was
manager,
over as
Drake
hell with the
Maverick,
crowd.
wet himself when attacked by the
2016,
Big Show.
whatever it
Number
was.
7, Eddie Guerrero versus Rob Van Dam.
16,
Raw,
17.
May 27, 2002. What's worse than a fan making a fool of themselves in the crowd? A fan climbing into the ring in the middle of a match. Eddie Guerrero made sure one man who did so learned the hard way that this was a bad idea. It was the main event of Monday Night Raw in Edmonton, Alberta, an Intercontinental Championship ladder match with Guerrero defending against Rob Van Dam. And the match was still in its relatively early stages when a random guy did something unbelievably stupid. With RVD down, Guerrero started climbing the ladder towards the belt hanging overhead. Suddenly, he was nearing the top. A bald guy in an Edmonton Oilers jersey appeared from nowhere and pushed the ladder over. Luckily, Eddie saw him in time and leapt off, landing on his feet and then immediately swinging at the intruder as referee Earl Hebner tackled the man to the ground. The whole thing and many others like it can be seen in our list of 10 times wrestling fans invaded the show, so make sure you watch that as well. Number 6, Ric Flair versus Nikita Koloff, the Great American Bash, 1985. In the same year that Vince McMahon launched WrestleMania, the NWA was already preparing to start up a second annual Super Show to go alongside Starrcade, which had been the first big wrestling show to air widely on closed-circuit TV at movie theaters across the United States. The Great American Bash would now be the summer version of Starrcade, and this first edition had a crowd in Charlotte, North Carolina, who were really fired up. In one case, a little too much so. Ric Flair, already a 4-time NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, was defending the title against Nikita Koloff, who, playing an evil Russian at the height of the Cold War, found himself able to draw plenty of heat from audiences all over America. Flair was very much a fan favorite at this point, and things got increasingly tense as Koloff bit, clawed, and cheated his way through the match. Suddenly, close to the end of the contest, a fan charged the ring and tried to tackle Koloff to the mat. He was quickly sent packing, but it clearly threw both wrestlers off. Moments later, Flair botched a top rope crossbody, leaping too high and almost landing on his opponent's head. The match continued for a few more moments before the Nature Boy secured the pinfall, but the unexpected intervention from ringside had cast a shadow over the major title defense at the biggest show of the summer. Number 5, Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor, SummerSlam 2016.
That match was pretty good before Finn got hurt.
Match for a new world championship at a major pay-per-view, Seth Rollins versus a new.
I wonder what would have happened if Finn hadn't got hurt in that match. They had to vacate the title the next night.
Attendants that night in Brooklyn did not take kindly to the Strawberry Jam monstrosity that was the Universal Championship. Balor and Rollins did their best to work through the jeers, but the visceral hatred that the fans had towards this belt was palpable. Different variations of "that belt sucks" chants echoed throughout the Barclays Center, while Seth and Finn were putting on one of the matches of the night. Seth even took to Twitter afterwards to let the Brooklyn crowd know just how much they had let him down that night. And yeah, maybe don't distract yourself that much from the awesome match that is taking place before you, but also goddamn did this belt ever suck. This match is more remembered for being the site of Finn Balor's main event push-ending injury, but as it was happening, all anyone could do was talk about just how much this belt sucked. Number 4, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, WrestleMania 34. After the Daniel Bryan drama in 2014 and the years of fan backlash against John Cena, you would think that WWE would have learned not to try and force a new star down everyone's throats when the fans weren't ready to cheer for them. Wrong! Because Vince McMahon knows what you want more than you know it yourself, hence Roman Reigns. For 4 consecutive WrestleManias after Bryan's victory, the future Tribal Chief was given main event billing in matches of varying quality against Brock Lesnar, Triple H, and The Undertaker. The fan reaction to one or more of these matches could have made the list, but by WrestleMania 34, the fans had really seen enough. Not just of Reigns, but of Lesnar too.
Yeah.
Lesnar was an attraction people were into for a long time, but then WWE told the fans that Lesnar hated them and wrestling in an attempt to get them to cheer Reigns. Something that was never going to happen, and you know what they got? A crowd that couldn't care less during what was supposed to be the biggest match of the year. There were beach balls, and people just generally not giving a The match is a mess of finisher spamming, which can be cool when the people are into it, but on this night, at the end of a 7-hour show, they sure weren't. Number 3, Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg.
Didn't nobody care about that damn
WWE
match.
Stars like John Cena have said they actually
Both
prefer
Lesnar
WrestleMania
and Goldberg
being
was
held in
planning
small
on leaving
buildings because
right
of
after
how
the
sound
right after that
travels
match.
compared to a
Actually,
huge stadium with lots of empty space. For as true as that might be, Brock and Goldberg assuredly felt the opposite when they stood toe-to-toe in the ring at Madison
Brock was
Square
going to
Garden
go
at
play
WrestleMania
football
20.
in the
As the show
NFL.
approached, word got out that
Goldberg,
both
I think, was
Lesnar and
retiring.
his opponent Goldberg were quitting immediately after the match at the Granddaddy of them all. And the news had not gone down well, particularly with the hardest of the hardcore fans that had gathered inside WWE's home base of MSG. Instead of this being the dream match it should have been, this was a total nightmare. From the start, the fans shouted, "You sold out," and sang "na na na, hey hey hey, goodbye," before breaking out into a chant in favor of their favorite guest referee, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who clearly saw the funny side of the whole situation. Brock and Goldberg didn't. They looked visibly shaken by the reaction, as the crowd mercilessly chanted, "This match sucks." Goldberg eventually won, but the only thing the audience liked was when Austin dropped both guys afterwards with Stone Cold Stunners. At the very least, these two can say they eventually had the match they should have been at Mania 13 years later, but until that happened, this stood as one of the darkest days in both of their careers. Number 2, Sheamus versus Randy Orton, Raw, April 8th, 2013. Ah yes, the Fandango crowd. When the Raw after Mania crowd wasn't making their way through some of the less interesting parts of the show, they were on the WWE top stars that they were sick of seeing, like in this match. Sheamus and Randy Orton weren't high on the hardcore fans list at the time, and were battling it out on this show to see who would get to face the Big Show after the large program cost them their match with the Shield at Mania the night before. A match no one wanted to see to set up a match no one wanted to see. Things started with the Ole, 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 Ole sing-song, followed immediately by chants for referee Mike Chioda and all 3 members of the commentary team and various other random names that weren't involved in the match. When Big Show eventually stormed the ring to knock out both men, the crowd chanted, "Thank you, Big Show," for bringing the contest to an end before mocking him Big Show twice to throw a commentator's chair into the ring. Big Show. We are awesome. The fans finally concluded. From the looks on their faces, didn't seem that Sheamus, Orton, or Big Show agreed. And number 1, Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins, Extreme Rules 2018. It's pretty rare for the Intercontinental title match to headline a pay-per-view, and the 30-minute Iron Man match between Rollins and Ziggler seemed to be an attempt
half this stuff I do not remember, bro. I know I probably watched that pay-per-view, I just don't remember.
High work rate and quality wrestling.
Years go by so fast.
Fans would be crying the decline of the title's importance, so you would think the Pittsburgh crowd would have been well up for this, and to start they were. Until they found a lame gag to amuse themselves with instead. I started this list by saying not all of the entries were at the fault of the fans, but this was a crowd of fans doing everything they could to ruin a very good match that they should have been happy to have paid to see. You all know what went wrong. WWE had the audacity to put a clock on the screen to help fans keep track of the time in this Iron Man match. What were
the wrong
they
thing
thinking?
to do.
The crowd stopped paying attention to the match and then started counting down and going at all of the zeros like, "Fuck me, are you all actually children?" None of the ones on this list bother me, even in the slightest, but this one is just so irritating. The city of Pittsburgh is lucky WWE ever returned to it after this match. And that's our list. Make sure, of course, that you like this video, subscribe it.
Alright, y'all, great video, man. Let me know down below in the comments of what y'all thought of my reaction to this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.